Let's just cut the BS out of the gate. If I had $1 for every time I heard someone say, I know what I need to do, I'm just not doing it, I'd probably own a McLaren and probably have that beachfront house in Brazil by now. But here's the truth, most people can't actually handle. If you're not doing it, you don't really know it. Because to know and not to do is to not actually know. And knowing isn't intellectual, it's actually behavioral. You don't know it until it shows up in your calendar, in your habits, and really in your identity. So the question isn't, why haven't I done it yet? It's what is actually stopping me. And that's what we're going to get into today. Because listen to me, you don't have a strategy problem. You have a self-honesty problem. So if you find yourself trapped in knowing and not doing, then stick around, because this one is just for you. This is the High Performance Human Podcast, where high achievers come to master themselves, not just their success. I'm Creighton Bertrand, a certified high performance coach and entrepreneur obsessed with mastering the mind, body, and emotions to reach the next level in every area of life. My mission is to give you real, actionable tools to rewire your habits and mindset for the life that you know that you were meant for. If you're done settling for good enough and ready for real transformation, you, my friend, are in the right place. Now, let's get to work. All right, welcome back, or welcome to the High Performance Human Podcast. I'm so grateful to have you here. And I want to start with, before you start spiraling and beating yourself up, I need you to hear this, okay? Please, stop giving yourself a free hall pass by saying you're lazy, you're undisciplined, or you're just unmotivated. You might believe those labels are helping you make sense of everything that's going on. But the problem is they don't move you forward. They are probably part of the culprit that's actually keeping you stuck. Because here's the truth. Most of us high achievers, we're not lazy, but most of us are over functioning out of fear. You see, it's not that you don't care, it's that you actually care so much that it paralyzes you, because you're terrified that if you actually do the thing, and God forbid it doesn't work, you'll be exposed, that your best effort won't be enough, that you won't be enough. So instead of risking that feeling, what do? Well, you bury yourself in tasks that feel productive. You bury yourself in safe, surface level tasks that might feel productive and they might feel good, but they aren't actually the thing that move you or move the needle forward. Maybe this is you. Do you find yourself tweaking your website when you should be having a hard conversation? Or maybe you're checking boxes instead of confronting your own avoidance. Or you're doing the things that make you look busy because they don't carry the emotional risk of failure, of rejection, or the feeling of not being good enough. And that's what we call emotional avoidance. But I want to break it down why this pattern of emotional avoidance is so addicting on a real biological level. Because here's what's happening inside your brain. You see, your brain doesn't light up when you succeed. It actually lights up when you're chasing success. And that's when you get dopamine. It's your brain's reward chemical. But it doesn't reward the achievement. It actually rewards the pursuit. And now if we layer in cortisol, which is the stress hormone, when you feel overwhelmed, or if you feel like you're behind, or if you're under pressure, what happens? Well, your cortisol spikes. And when cortisol stays high, what it actually does is it hijacks your focus. So what happens? Well, you can't see clearly. And what you do? You start prioritizing urgency over importance. So you do what feels good now instead of what actually matters. And together with that crazy cocktail of dopamine and cortisol, you're actually creating a loop because you feel stressed from the cortisol, so your brain wants instant relief. So it chases low effort tasks that give it a dopamine hit, like checking emails or cleaning your desk or scrolling quote unquote business advice on Instagram or YouTube because it feels productive. But you're really just spinning because your brain is choosing emotional relief over real progress. It thinks, well, if I just knock out a few easy tasks, then I'll finally feel caught up. But the problem is that feeling never actually comes. So you stay in the cycle because you're not actually getting caught up. So if you find yourself in this cycle, know that it's really not a mindset issue. It's your biology reinforcing your avoidance. So please stop blaming yourself. But please start being honest about what's really going on. Because until you name it and identify that that's what you're doing, you'll just keep doing more of what doesn't matter while avoiding the one thing that actually would move you forward. And if we can be real for a second, let's say that you missed the gym or you skipped the conversation that you wanted to have with your wife, or maybe you didn't follow through on your calendar. Please, I do not want to hear from you that I forgot, because you didn't forget. What really happened is you chose something else. Maybe you chose comfort, maybe you chose control, or maybe you are avoiding something entirely. And there really is two types of avoidance that most of us find ourselves being guilty. And the first type is emotional avoidance. We kind of talked about that, but I want to go a little bit deeper because with emotional avoidance, you're not avoiding the task. What you're really doing is avoiding the feeling that's tied to the task. Maybe it's the fear of not being good enough. Maybe it's the shame. Maybe it's the guilt. Or maybe it's the discomfort of doing something that reminds you that you are not there or you are not perfect yet. And again, I'm going to tell you this again. Please, please stop coddling yourself and saying that you just lack discipline. That's not the case, because I assure you that you do have discipline in other areas of your life right now. And I highly doubt that you really are lazy. Those are just cop-outs to prevent us from really figuring out what is happening below the surface. Because what it really is, well, it's actually your nervous system trying to protect you from feeling something bad, like feeling like a failure or feeling like you still aren't enough. And because most of us don't want to feel bad or really feel any negative emotions, so instead of doing the thing, what do? Well, you go and find a way to spin your wheels doing something productive to do, like stay busy or do something to just go numb yourself out. Because doing the thing would mean that you actually have to face something in yourself that you don't want to feel. And that is the real resistance. And sometimes it's not just about the emotion that we're avoiding. It's about the lie that you'll get to it later. And this is what we call priority avoidance. See, this is when you say, once I catch up, then I'll focus on my health. Once I catch up, then I'll focus on my marriage. Then I'll focus on my peace. Once I catch up, then I'll spend time with the kids. But here's the truth. And listen to me when I say this. If it is not a priority now, it won't be a priority later. And this is a byproduct of you training your brain to believe that urgency equals importance. And everything else, well, it can wait. But the things that can't wait, your health, your family, your inner peace, those are the things that get shoved to the bottom of the list. And you might be wondering, why do you do this? Well, it's a great question. Well, it happens to be because somewhere in you, you still think that success means doing more. You're trying to earn your right to finally slow down. You're trying to earn your right to rest. You're trying to earn your right to be present. But the finish line keeps moving further and further and further away. And eventually, you're going to find yourself looking up and realizing that you built a life full of results, but completely disconnected from what actually matters because you didn't prioritize it. So if you find yourself in either one of these, I want to help you. So let's come up with some actionable things that you can do. Because awareness without action, well, really, it's just like another label. It's just an excuse. So here's how to stop avoiding and start owning your next move. So I want you to start by asking yourself one brutally honest question. When you find yourself not doing the thing that you know you should be doing or that you know how to do, I want you to recognize and ask yourself the question, what did I do instead? You said you're going to go to the gym, but you didn't. So what did you choose instead? Were you scrolling on your phone? Were you answering emails? Were you cleaning the garage? Because avoidance doesn't come from nowhere. It's not random. It's actually a choice. And that choice is almost always driven by an emotion. So I want you to track it. I want you to write it down, but not to shame yourself. But I want you to do it so that you can see the pattern clearly. And once you see the moment that you traded the thing you said mattered for something that was easier, safer, or more comfortable, when you do that, you get your power back. Because what you can name, you can now actually come up with a plan to change. And once you've exposed the pattern, well, now it's time to remove any wiggle room. Because the truth is, most high performers love to ignore. If it's not on the calendar, listen to me, it does not exist. You didn't forget, you just didn't build a system that forced you to remember. And what are you doing? You're leaving it up to willpower. And then when it doesn't happen, you wonder, why did it happen? Well, it's because discipline isn't about waking up every day feeling motivated. I'm sorry, you should know that by now. Discipline is about creating default behaviors that happen no matter how you feel. And so how can you do this? Well, you block time on your calendar. You set alarms. You create friction around your distractions. And you remove choice wherever possible. Because when the systems are tight, success isn't heroic. It actually starts to become automatic. And the final step that most people end up skipping is you have to stop believing that your feelings are facts. You don't need to feel ready to take action. I'm going to say that again. Stop believing that your feelings are facts. What you really need to do is take action and let your nervous system recalibrate. Because that resistance you feel before you hit publish or you walk in the gym or start that hard conversation, it's not a stop sign. It's just a signal. And it's not a signal that you're wrong, but that you're actually growing. Courage is never about being emotionless. It's about moving with the emotion. So the next time the voice in your head says, not today, not ready, not enough, I want you to answer back. Maybe it is scary. Maybe I do feel that way. But you know what? I'm doing it anyway. And even if it's a small step, even if your voice shakes while you're saying it, because action will break the loop. Because what it does is it rewires the avoidance. And over time, it builds a whole new identity of who you are and what you tolerate. So here's your challenge. Next time you catch yourself saying, I know what to do, pause. Pause. And tell yourself the truth. Because if you're not doing it, there's something you don't actually know. And most likely, there's a fear, there's a belief, there's a buried script that's calling the shots in your life. And until you name it and until you find it, you won't be able to change it. So name it, call it out, slap yourself metaphorically across the face if you have to, because self-awareness is the only way out of this loop. Because I'm sorry to say, you don't need another podcast, even though this is the best one. What you need is to apply the one that you already are listening to. And if this one hit home, please take a moment and send it to another high performer who's stuck on knowing but not doing. Let's stop the talking and let's get to work.